friends, FirearmPop here, and this is another in my series of armed citizen stories. I have a few good ones here for you today. The first one's going to come from the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, and this just happened this past week, so that's what makes this one very timely. So it was via an email, and I'll read that to you now. It's from the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, and it says, a home invasion on Long Island turned deadly for one of the suspects early Wednesday morning, April 13th, that's this past week. Police told WCBS 880 reporter Sophia Hall that a gunman and two other suspects forced their way inside a two-story yellow-colored home on Adam Street in East Islip around 2 a.m. East Islip is out on Long Island. Now, the homeowner returned fire after the suspect shot the family dog, police said. The suspect died on the back porch, and another was hospitalized, police said. A third suspect fled the scene but was later caught by authorities. Residents expressed shock after the violent early morning incident. We never had any problems. Nothing ever happens in this neighborhood, one person said. And if you have to protect yourself, if someone breaks into my house, I would probably do the same thing, another neighbor said. The dog is expected to survive. The man and two women who live in the home were not injured. But isn't that always the case? We all kind of feel that way, that I live in a great neighborhood. Nothing is ever going to happen here. Okay. This next story comes out of the United States Concealed Carry Association, and this was a self-defense story that came via email as well. Now, suspect killed in home invasion gun battle. A North Harris County man shot a pair of suspected home invaders on Friday, killing one and wounding the other during a gun battle outside his house, officials said. The homeowner, who was wounded, was also wounded, authorities said. He was shot by one of the suspects, said Sergeant Craig Clopton with the Harris County Sheriff's Department. His condition is not available. Gunfire erupted at 11:30 a.m. at the home at 1300 block of Spring City after two people forced open the front door, officials said. The homeowner and the suspects were armed and exchanged gunfire, authorities said. One attacker, an adult, fell to the ground in the yard. He was later pronounced dead at the scene. The wounded juvenile ran to a nearby home in the 14,000 block of Convey and pounded on the front door. He told me that he had gotten shot and to call his mother. I thought he was just crazy, said Pamela Grant, who cares for an elderly woman who lives there. Grant said he came to the window and showed her his foot, and they had been apparently struck by gunfire, and she could tell that he was bleeding. I told him to get away, but he wouldn't leave, Grant said. By that time, deputies had arrived, and the youth was taken by ambulance to a hospital. His condition is not available. Courtney Brooks, who lives nearby, was watching television when the commotion started. There was shooting, and my dogs were barking, Brooks said. A good 5 minutes later, and then I heard the sirens coming. Brooks looked outside and saw a pair of Harris County Sheriff deputies standing over the juvenile lying in the front yard of his neighbor's house. 5 minutes is pretty quick, okay? They're very fortunate there. He said that the deputies tried to question the juvenile about an accomplice. Irma Miranda, who had been staying at her brother's home for the last few months, said the area was recently been plagued with crime. It seems quiet, but lately there's been a lot of robberies. It's scary, she said. Miranda said someone recently broke into the brother's home, and she said she knew at least two other houses in the same street that had been struck by burglars. They just kicked in the door, and they went straight for the TV, Miranda said. Sheriff's official at the scene could not confirm whether Friday's home invasion suspects could be linked to other crimes in the area. Okay. Now the next set of stories comes out of this month's Concealed Carry magazine, and I'm hoping you get a good view of that cover. That's my kind of granny sitting there. Anyway, that's where these true stories of armed citizens is coming from. Okay. First one goes like this: manager fights off armed attackers. Okay, Hannah McCullough was going to work one morning in Albany, Georgia, when she encountered a uniformed worker who tried to engage her in conversation. Brushing past him because she was in a hurry, she entered her office to find a man armed with a butcher knife, who immediately attacked her. While she was trying to fight off the knife-wielding bad guy, the other man, now armed with a pistol, burst into the office and started shooting at her, glazing her right arm. McCullough was able to reach her legally carried pistol, a Taurus Judge 45 caliber and .410 revolver, and returned fire, hitting the shooter with a .410 blast at what she described as point-blank range. Both robbers fled the scene, leaving the butcher knife and McCullough's wallet behind. McCullough credits a sidearm, which she urges all law-abiding citizens to have and carry, with saving her life. Hannah McCullough was trained in firearms by her husband John after the couple had been burglarized shortly after moving to Georgia from New York. Hannah's husband reports being proud of his wife, and both McCullough plan to continue carrying their guns constantly. Okay. Good old Taurus Judge. Nothing like a blast from a .410 to make somebody go running. I love that. Okay, an elderly man shoots a teen home invaders. 3 masked men knocked on the door of a 72-year-old Escambia County, Florida man at 8:45 p.m. on a Saturday night. Okay, the homeowner answered the door with a pistol in his hand, which was a good thing, as the trio, 2 juveniles and an 18-year-old, forced their way into the home and began beating the man with a baseball bat. The victim managed to fire several shots at the intruders, hitting 2 of them. One assailant was treated for gunshot wounds and released to police, while another remains hospitalized. All 3 were arrested and charged with aggravated battery and home invasion robbery. The victim was treated and released for his head wounds, and as of press time was not been charged in the incident. A Canadian man defends home, faces jail time. This is not a happy one. Ian Thompson, 53, a former mobile crane operator and firearms instructor, awoke one night on hearing noise outside his Ontario, Canada home to find 3 masked men throwing Molotov cocktails at his house. Taking up his legally owned Smith & Wesson revolver, he rushed outside and fired several shots at the men, frightening them off and saving his home from destruction and himself from possible death. Authorities have charged the 3 firebombers with arson and alleged the man intentionally set the home on fire while the homeowner was inside. But wait, there's more. As part of the subsequent police investigation, Thompson gave authorities security camera tapes which had recorded the arsonists in action. After reviewing the tapes and concluded their investigation, police decided Thompson used his firearm carelessly and arrested him on the charge, as well as careless storage of firearms and pointing a firearm. His collection of 5 pistols and 2 rifles was confiscated, as was his firearms license. Prosecutors are requesting jail time for Thompson. The police position on the matter was summed up by Constable Neelan Dave, who said, if the public are wondering what can you run out of your house and fire a handgun at an intruder, the bottom line is, according to the laws of Canada, no, you can't. That's why the courts are there, to give a person an opportunity to explain their actions. Thompson's lawyers report being baffled by the charges and are confident that they will be dismissed on self-defense grounds when the matter goes to trial. Meanwhile, he's in jail and his guns are gone. Okay. Would-be robber shot in Indianapolis. Donnell Dennis, 38, approached the 2000 Chevrolet Suburban at 11:20 at night at gunpoint and ordered the occupants, Aaron and Matthew Arnold, out of the car and onto the ground. Unknown to Dennis, the Arnold men were armed, and they opened fire on Dennis, who died in the subsequent exchange of gunfire. Police have not charged the Arnolds in the defensive shooting, though the Marion County, Indiana prosecutor is reviewing the case. Now here's another case of home invaders. Ohio home invasion ends badly for invaders. A Bainbridge man returned home one night to find two burglars inside, busy stealing his belongings. Seeing the owner, the men fled the home as they were leaving. The homeowner retrieved his gun and followed the men out the door. When one of the burglars turned and pointed a gun at him, the homeowner fired, hitting one. The other fled, and that was yet to be found, and has yet to be found by the police. County prosecutors reviewing the incident say the shooting follows Ohio's Castle Doctrine, and that the homeowner is not expected to face charges. Now, in two of those stories, guys, you gotta. I mean, there's a lesson to be learned here. You gotta know your local laws. They are vital. You can't run down the street shooting at somebody even though they just tried to burn your house down. And that's wrong. And he's going to do time in jail as well as lose his guns. The other gentleman had the Castle Doctrine on his side, and they were shooting at him. He had the perfect right to shoot back. Now, so, boy, these are split-second decisions that you're going to have to make someday. Hopefully never, okay? But if you do, we'll all can just pray that we do make the right decisions here, okay? So, lots of lessons to be learned by today's stories. I hope you enjoyed them, and I'm looking forward to reading more as they come in. So, once again, this is FirearmPop. Be safe out there, and God bless. Bye now.